gets knocked out or anything. But we're live now. Welcome to the podcast, Babbs. How you doing?
Hey, I'm great. Yeah, it's a beautiful day here in Oregon. Another hot day, 90 degrees. We've had really boiling days, 101, 99, 94, and now down to 90.
Okay. Damn, what part of Oregon are you in? Are you in the southern part of the state? Did we lose him already? Oh, come on. No way. Well, we started the podcast with Babbs, and we've ended the podcast with Babbs. What happened? What has happened? We'll make this right. We will get Babbs back. Just a small little hiccup. Do-do-do. Let's see if this helps. We lost Babbs as soon as we started the podcast. I'm surprised Facebook's even letting me do this right now because it thinks I'm on a ban. So we'll see if we can get Babbs back. Let's hope. So he can come back. Send him the link. Been looking forward to this podcast for a couple weeks now. Boom, boom. Ken Babbs entered the waiting room.
Oh, there, are we back?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll tell you what was going on there. I was on my Wi-Fi, and my Wi-Fi is so slow here, it can't handle the Zoom. So now I'm on the Ethernet.
Okay.
But the problem is I only got 20% battery.
Oh, shit. All right, we'll cram as much as we can into as little time as possible then, Babbs.
Okay.
Thanks for doing this, man. You're a legend in my eyes. So this is a blessing for me. I'm super excited about this. I'm like a little kid.
Okay, well that's good. Yeah, glad to hear it.
So let's jump right into it, Babbs. How did you get together with the Pranksters? How did you meet with Ken?
Well, Kesey and I met at Stanford in the graduate writing program in 1958 and hit it off right away and became great friends. And from then on, for 43 years, we did everything together. And it was in 1964 when we had a group of people we hung out with and did acid with and did all kinds of stuff with. And that was the year his book, Sometimes a Great Notion, came out, and he was going to go to New York for the publication party. So we were going to go. I was going to go too. We were going to take my station wagon, but everybody wanted to go. So he bought a bus, and we painted it all up. And by then, we were making movies. We were tired of typing, all that typing, and making corrections and all that. Really a terrible bore. But movies, you're right out there doing it, playing the parts, making music. We were all musicians of a sort. We did a form of music called, what was it called? It was called Unconscious Celebrations of Weirdness with no known chords or acknowledged sounds of words. We made it up as we went along, in other words.
Right. It was like improv.
Oh, that's the simply way to put it.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So anyway, we were going to film and tape the whole thing and turn it out as a big time movie when we got back to California from going to New York. And so we weren't the Merry Band of Pranksters until just before the bus trip, when all of us were at Kesey's house in La Honda and sitting around the fire and talking. And Kesey's brother Chuck said to Kesey and me, "Come on, I want to show you something." And we went up down the hill to the ocean and looked on this bluff over the ocean and crossed this little stream and went down a hole and crawled through this black tunnel to the end of the hole, to the end of the tunnel, and came out with this cave looking out over the ocean. And it was a spotting cave for World War II Navy guys to sit in there and look out to see if any of the Japanese submarines were going to come and shell the artichoke fields right there and run our economy. But the Japanese submarine commander didn't get the code right, and he went down south and he shelled the avocado orchards down in Santa Barbara instead. So that was a good thing for us. So anyway, we're sitting there talking about that, and all of a sudden we look out there and this huge wave is coming. And what we didn't know was at the same time, and the earthquake had hit in Anchorage in 1964, and it sent the tsunami wave all up and down the coast, and we were going to get swamped. So we turned and we skedaddled down through that tunnel. And if there had been an event in the Olympics of tunnel crawling, we'd been the world champs, and not only that, set the world record. And we popped out the other side without getting wet, and looked, and that stream was a raging torrent. And Chuck says, "What are we going to do? What are we going to do?" And I says, "'Tis I, the intrepid traveler." I said, "I will lead you across," and I stepped into the water, and off I was heading to the ocean. But Kesey reached in and grabbed me by the back of my neck and caught my collar and pulled me out. He says, "Let's just wait a little bit here." And so we waited a little bit, and the stream went down, and we walked across. So we drove back to his house and parked, and we got out of the car, and Mike Hagan yelled, "Halt! Who goes there?" And I said, "'Tis I, the intrepid traveler, come to lead his merry band of pranksters across the continent and back in reverse direction of the original settlers. Our goal, the obliteration of the entire nation." Oh, not to be taken literally, of course. Blow their minds, not their buildings. And so that set the tone, and off we went to New York.
That is a beautiful tone to set. That's powerful. I love it.
Yeah, good.
That's cool, though. You guys were writers and storytellers, so you were always kind of walking around, rippling your own waves and creating your own universes as you go, huh?
Exactly right. Yeah, we used to, when we were working with the tape recorder, the reel-to-reel tape recorder, we'd at night get high and we'd lie on the floor with microphones, and we'd make up whole novels, playing all the parts and the descriptions and everything back and forth. And in the morning, we'd be done. And the thing about doing something like that is you have to listen to it to determine if what you're doing is any good or not, if worthwhile. And so we were able to ascertain that, yeah, we could do that. And then when we were able to then switch that into the movie and make up stuff as we were shooting the movies in the same way, that we could then, add visual to the oral.
Right, and I see why you guys wanted to move from writing to movies, because when you're tripping, your mind is moving so fast that your hands can't keep up with your mind. So it's better to have a tape recorder or be able to film it to document what you're doing and saying.
Oh yeah, I never wrote when I was high on acid.
Really?
Oh no, I wouldn't even consider it. I mean, it's too much of an experience to sit down and write something. Are you shitting me? I mean, there you are. You're in the fifth dimension, whirling around with the spheres and the rocket ships and battling the spacemen that are trying to take over the Earth. And then the next thing you know, you're in the jungle fighting with the saber-toothed tiger or something. You can't be writing. Who's got time to write?
That's awesome. You guys have been a huge influence on me because I'm a comedian. I'm about to start building a van out so I can live life on the road and travel around and do comedy.
Good.
The Merry Pranksters traveling to New York and traveling around in the bus was definitely a huge influence on that. Do you have any advice for me for living life on the road?
Well, it's going to be weird now with the COVID, with the virus, because you can't go into halls or places, and perform. So you have to do it all outside. So you have to have a scene with your rig where you can maybe have a little platform that you pull out or some way of that, and you have your sound system or anything, and people can come and stand and be a little bit different and everything. you know, distance from each other, and the masks and all that. And then you can do your whole routine right there outside. And then, of course, you have to let them know you're coming, and you know, and got to be able to draw some people there. I mean, and maybe know the place. Zane Kesey, Kesey's son, on the 50th anniversary of the bus trip, took the bus all around the country, recreating the trip we made, the places. And he found people were in all these small towns, and they were doing just what we did when we were doing the acid test. They were staying up all night high. They had a little stage. And they had a band playing. Oh, what was that? Somebody's calling. Hello.
No, it was just a text
I won't
message.
talk to
Sorry.
you.
I meant to
That's
turn my
okay.
phone off.
Was it interesting?
No. I didn't even check it. I'm just turning it off.
Oh, okay. Okay. So anyway, these places were kind of set up. And I don't know how he connected ahead of time to find him or anything. I think he'd go someplace and somebody else they'd say, go here to another place or go that to another place. This is the challenge of the virus, how to do these kind of things and make them work and fulfill your creative desires and get out there. Because these Zoom things are kind of fun. But as a performing artist, I really love performing in front of an audience. You know, an audience is the thing.
Yeah. The energy isn't here that you would have in person with somebody.
Oh no, that's right, yeah, and particularly when it's, you know, many people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you get it going and everything. Yeah, because then it becomes a kind of a communal, fun thing of everybody there together. So, but anyway, I think this can be done now with some kind of creativity. Like the way I was talking about. You'd have to work it out. It'd be fun to do it, to go out on the road now and try to do this stuff this way.
Yeah, no, that's my goal. That's my dream. And I have thought about that too, about like maybe turning the roof of the van into a stage or a platform so that I could, you know, park and perform or even go up there and stargaze or whatever.
Well, you know, that's good because Kesey one time he bought this van that had been converted. The guy was converting it into a, you know, a motorhome, but he didn't finish. So it was just empty, but it was all had the electricity in it and everything, and a flat roof and a ladder going up. And so he bought that, and we called it the Vidi van. And we'd go to places and set up just like you're talking about on top, playing and coming on. We had our speakers going in the sound system and also the movie cameras so that we could be filming the same time. By that time, we were videotaping and doing, you know, recording it at the same time. And we'd go to, like one time we went to what they called a Furthur festival with some of the Grateful Dead guys and Jefferson Airplane guys out on the other side of Eugene, and parked right there and played and sang and had a great time until the band came on, and then they did their thing. So that works, just what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think that would be a cool idea too, is to pop up at music festivals when they're back and be able
Yeah,
to do my comedy in the parking lots at the campgrounds and stuff.
that's it. That's it. Oh yeah, yeah. Around the what they have out here is every year they have what they call the country fair, and a big thing out in the woods, and then but there's a big fields, and then there's all these other places around them, and all over there's scenes like that happening. Individual things set up around the outskirts of it, just like you're talking about. People for performing.
No, yeah, that's the dream for me. That is the dream for me, Ken.
Yeah.
For somebody who, how old are you, Ken? You're in your 90s, aren't you? 102?
Don't rush
Don't
things.
rush.
84.
84. For someone who's 84 and spent a fair amount of their life ingesting LSD, you still have your wits about you really well.
Well, yeah, that's because I was never a kind of guy, you know, that would take LSD every day or, you know, for long periods of time or massive doses or like that. No, we called ourselves astronauts of inner space. So just like astronauts of outer space have to be physically, mentally fit, you know, and ready to take on whatever, so the same with us. Because taking LSD is not a never for us a party drug. It was always something that was a serious thing we did. And even on the bus trip when we'd be high and mingling with the people we'd meet on the thing and having, everywhere you go, there's a scene. I mean, you know this. Where do you live anyway?
I live in Virginia.
Whereabouts in a town?
Yeah, Fredericksburg, Virginia. It's about 50
Fredericksburg.
50
Yeah.
miles between DC and Richmond.
Yeah, I know where it is. Yeah. But anyway, what brought that on? Oh, okay. But you know this then. You go to a 7-Eleven store at midnight on a Saturday night, there's something happening.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah,
Yeah.
in the parking lots, you know, and that, there's always a scene. Well, same thing when we parked the bus to get gas or food or something like that. The bus was a converted school bus, and kids recognized that right away. And they'd come running from everywhere, and then the older people would come, and we'd get out there with our instruments and the movie cameras and be filming and coming on and getting everybody going. It'd be a big party would start up there. And then we'd pack up and leave and go to another spot. So the movie became a series of these scenes, and then in between the scenes were the scenes inside the bus where we'd be doing stuff with the cameras going. The bus had a terrific sound system with everybody had, there were microphones, we had headsets with microphones on. And our driver, Neil Cassidy, the famous Beat character, Dean Moriarty in Kerouac's book, On the Road,
Yes,
was
sir.
our driver. And he had a microphone hanging right in front of him, so he'd be talking all the time.
And he was a speed freak, so I imagine he was awful jabbery at the mouth.
Well, yeah, but his speed was these little cross tops, these little 5 milligram dexedrines. He didn't do, I didn't think meth was around in those days either. But no, it was like one of those is like a cup of coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, but he'd take like one, and then he'd take maybe 3, and then he'd maybe 4. But on the bus, there weren't any. I mean, you know, who knew where, when you're traveling across country, where are you going to score any Dexedrine tablets?
Right. When you're in the middle of no man's land.
Yeah, but he just naturally was a superb rapper. I mean, the one thing about him, he didn't just talk nonsense or just to hear himself talk. He always had a story going and some kind of real lesson within the story. And so we were lucky. We taped all his stuff. I've written this big book now called Cronies about the adventures with Kesey and the Pranksters, covered from all 43 years that Kesey and I were together. And so on the part where we're driving the bus with Cassidy, I was able to type up these his actual rap. You know,
oh, really?
Yeah, so nobody would know. Uh-oh, your Mac will sleep soon. Okay, so how are we gonna do this?
I don't know, Ken.
I'll tell you, this is gonna be weird. Yeah,
it's fine. We can always do it again if you're willing.
No, wait a minute. We're gonna think about this. We're gonna try to go on the Wi-Fi again.
Okay.
See, when I got my Ethernet plugged in, the damn cord for the battery won't fit into its hole. They're too tight on each other.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
It's always something. It's all right. It's all right. We'll figure it out.
Okay, Wi-Fi is coming on.
All right.
Okay, but I'm still plugged into the Ethernet.
Okay.
Okay, so now where the hell's it? Okay, I'm getting up. I got to get that other cord.
Okay. It's freaking Ken Babbs, guys. Are you serious right now?
Technical mayhem.
Yeah, well, you specialize.
I can't hear you. Okay.
You guys specialize in that department. Everything in the book that I read and watched the documentaries seemed to be just order out of chaos, technical mayhem, wires everywhere, microphones everywhere. So.
Oh yeah, we had this thing we did called the figure 8 feedback loop, where we had 2 big speakers out there, and we'd be running microphones through a mixer, and then into a reel-to-reel tape recorder that was recording here, and then over here was another tape recorder playing back over here. So there'd be this delay of when recording and then playing back. And we'd feed that into the stereo, and we had microphones in front of the stereo speakers, and we'd feed that back in and crisscross it. So that was the figure 8 feedback loop. And we were able to do some really wild shit with that.
You guys were so ahead of your time. It's amazing.
And all analog.
That's wild.
I know. I still do all analog stuff. I do some digital stuff.
How
much?
I
like analog better.
How much do you think that the crazy shit that you guys were doing with that stuff was an influence on the Grateful Dead when they were working their sound out?
Well, the Grateful Dead pretty much had their own sound scene. I mean, they were aware of what we did. And I mean, particularly, when we did the acid test. We did the acid test when we came back from the bus trip, and we were trying to edit the movie ourselves. And it was getting too crazy at Kesey's house because people would come to watch when we'd show what we did on Saturday nights. So we started running halls. And by then, we knew the Grateful Dead guys. They were just musicians then. And when we did our first show, they showed up and to play. And so we would set up with stages at both ends, and we'd have our stuff on one end, our whole setup, and then they'd put their setup at the other end. And we'd dick around, and then they'd play, and sometimes we'd play together, But that was the setup that kind of kept going through the whole acid test. And so they knew about how we were doing stuff and everything, and they tried a lot of different stuff too. But then as they became, big time, they had big time guys doing their sound, Owsley did it for a while. Like that wall of sound, he
right.
the whole thing. Yeah. And but so their sound was directed at, big audience, music, where ours was different. Ours was more intimate.
It was more intimate. Oh. Well, aren't you fancy, Ken?
you got it.
What are some of your favorite memories with the Pranksters?
Some of my favorite memories.
Or some of your favorite memories in general of your life. I mean, this doesn't have to all be about the Pranksters. We can talk about you.
Oh, I know, but we don't have enough time.
How about your favorite psychedelic experiences?
Oh God, I don't know. Well, I was going to tell you one. What was it? Oh, I know, on the bus. When we came back from the bus trip, and we were, Kesey thought it was time to resume our regular lives, so to speak. And so we decided, we used to have briefings on the bus when we'd go somewhere, like we'd stop, Kesey would get us, and we'd have a briefing, like he'd talk about what the plan was if we had one. And then after we were done leaving the place, we'd have a debriefing in which we'd talk about what went down and, and how good or bad it was. So we were going to have a final debriefing on the bus. And so when we heard that, we all stripped down to our briefs. And so when we were all down to our briefs and we started the debriefing, we took off our briefs. And we were all naked on the bus, and we had all our clothes plowed in the middle of the bus. And so Kesey says, "All right," he says, "this is it." He says, "We're ending it." And he threw a match in the clothes, and it started burning. And George Walker, one of the pranksters, says, "Holy shit," he says, "we're right over the gas tank." So all of us ran out of there, sticking around naked outside the bus, waiting for the bus to blow up. Nothing happened in there, but our clothes were all burned up.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. That's wild. I was watching a video last night. It was like a documentary with you guys, and it was Ken out in the woods with the original Furthur bus, and it was all chipped and peeled and moss growing all over it.
Yeah.
Do you still have access to it? When's the last time you saw it?
That's a tremendous video too, with what Kesey was talking about in that video you were talking about, watching that. That was really good. So anyway, the bus, Kesey decided to retire the bus. And so we towed it down into what he called the swamp at the end of his property, where the slough went through, and it was all overgrown and everything. It parked it there, and that's where we left it to rust in peace. And over the years, it became beautiful in there. With that when you saw that video, it was after it had been there for a while. And he even showed that on the video. I remember he says where you could peel a little bit of paint off. It was all curling up, and see the layer between that, because of the layers of paint on there. I don't know how many dozens of layers, how many times that bus has been painted, always over the top of the preceding one.
Right.
And so I thought it would stay there forever. But his son, Zane, at one point decided to bring it out and resurrect it. So this one day he towed it out and parked it, and they were going to raise money and totally resurrect it and everything, but I always knew that would never happen. But by then there was another bus, because while it was there in the swamp, Kesey found another bus, very similar, not as quite as long and taller, but a school bus. And so we resurrected that, or did it again, and so people, another Furthur, it was Furthur. And so people said, which is the original Furthur? He says, they are all Furthur. He says, there is no, they're just like the Starship Enterprise. There is only one Enterprise, even though they would go through various, ramifications.
Right.
So same with the bus. So anyway, so we did the bus for a long time till Kesey died. Now Zane still does it. But anyway, this big building's called the bus barn, and the two buses sit in there side by side, the old one and the new one next to each other.
That's cool. How far are you from there?
8 miles.
Okay, great, cool. So you're right around the corner. That's awesome.
Yeah. I live about 20 miles east of Eugene, Oregon, in the Willamette Valley.
Okay.
The Willamette River comes down out of the mountains and comes pretty close to us, and then turns north and hits the Columbia in Portland.
And it's pretty much countryside out there, huh?
Yeah, where we live on this Lost Creek, a creek that runs it down into the Willamette River. And all around us are country folks. Although it's changed a lot. When I first moved here, it was mostly loggers and farmers lived up here. But since then, at one point, a lot of California money came in here for people moving up here and built big houses back off the road a long ways. So it's quite a mixture now of what do you call people that drive to town, commuters? What's the name for them? I can't think of what it is now, where they live outside of town and drive to town to work. What's the name of that?
Commuters?
Yeah, but it's not commuters. Commuters, you think of them riding buses and stuff.
Right.
Driving freeway and that. Oh, God, I almost had it there for a minute. But don't worry about it. It'll come back tonight.
That's the part of the country where I want to be. So it's kind of like my fantasy up here.
Yeah, it's really neat because we're right on the edge of the woods, and then we're right on the foothills of the Cascade Mountains.
Yeah.
So we can go out here and turn right and get to the top of the mountains in an hour, or we can turn left and get to the ocean in an hour.
Nice.
So it's really nice.
Yeah, and you're tucked away, a little secluded.
Oh, yeah, we're way off the road.
Yeah.
Back in our hole, so nobody knows what's going on back here. It's a good thing.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I mean, there's shit lying around here all over the place.
Oh,
I don't care. Mow the lawn, get out of here. Turn the cow loose on the lawn.
Now the way that I always heard like your property and Kesey's property described, and also Hunter S. Thompson's property, Woody Creek. That's kind of my dream, how I want to live too. Off in the mountains, secluded.
Yeah.
No neighbors.
I know. You just got to find a place now.
Yeah.
Snapped up faster than you can believe.
You got to go to Montana, I guess.
Yeah, somewhere.
What was it like in Mexico when you
Mexico was tremendous. Mexico was tremendous. Kesey, he got busted for pot, and he was being sentenced, and he faked his suicide.
Yeah.
And split for Mexico, and left me in charge of the acid test, which we were still doing, and we were doing it we were moving from San Francisco to LA with the acid test. So we did it there for a while, and then one night we decided to split, and we took the bus down to Mexico and hooked up with Kesey, and we lived in this, right on the edge of this little town called Mazatlan, down in the southern part of Mexico, right on the ocean. We had 2 houses right on the beach. Step out and walk across the stand and into the ocean. We were down there for 6 months. And they were 6 wonderful months down there, swimming every day with the sea turtles, hang onto the back of the sea turtle and have it
cool.
tow you around. I know, it's really neat. And big, huge manta rays flopping around in there.
That's amazing.
I know.
Now, did you guys did a test down there too, didn't you?
Yeah, sort of. It was just before we left. We threw one in. We had the place we called the Rat Shack. It was our studio, you'd say, with all our stuffs in there. By the way, we made a lot of really good audio tapes down there because we had the capability then to tape everything and then go back and overdub and do all that. So we turned out some really good stuff. The best tapes I think we've ever made. And they sit in a box somewhere now, and I think in his daughter's house, in her attic or her storeroom, where she's got all that stuff. Someday somebody will go through them all. Not me.
I imagine it's a lot of stuff to go through. How many hours of footage and audio tapes do you think you guys have? Oh, shit. Well, Mr. Babbs, the intrepid traveler, his laptop has died. He went to Wi-Fi. I don't know if we're going to be able to get him back. Let's slide over here into the comments and see if I can see anything that anyone's been saying. And I will try to... Nope. You guys haven't seen Wi-Fi. Hi. I don't know if we're going to be able to get him back. There's a bunch of feedback for you guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Mr. Ken Babbs, you are now watching a live video. Nobody commented anything? All right. That's fine. I don't like you guys anyway. I know, Jose. That's how I feel too, bro. I know. I'm surprised Facebook's even letting me run this because I'm on a ban. All my pages are on bans right now. This is the only way that I have to communicate with the outside world. Send help! Well, that was the intrepid traveler, Ken Babbs, famous Merry Prankster and lifelong friend of Ken Kesey, writer of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Fucking legend in the psychedelic movement. Oh my God. The pranksters, they help perpetuate hippie culture. Like, they're the bridge between the beat generation and the hippie generation, the fucking pranksters. Oh, like, he was literally just talking about Neil Cassidy and Jack Kerouac's On the Road about the beat generation. Jack Kerouac doesn't need my... Boom, Ken Babbs is back.
I'm back.
You're back again. Yes.
But we're on the Wi-Fi, so I don't know if it'll stay on or not.
It's all right.
That was funny. Yeah, I had to unplug the Ethernet and then plug the power cable to it to get it running again. It ran out of batteries. What happened?
No, yeah. So what are you doing these days, Ken?
Well, I'm very busy. This virus has not touched us hardly at all because we never go anywhere anyway. Not much, I mean. But there's so much to do around here on the place. We have 6 acres, and we've got a cow and a steer, and we've got firewood to cut. We have a wood stove we use.
So you got a homestead out there. You're living a self-sufficient lifestyle, pretty much.
Well, not really. We got to go to the market, and I go food shopping once a week.
Okay.
Yeah. And no, my wife is a retired school teacher, so for I don't know how many years, for 35 years or something like that. She worked and I stayed home with our daughter. I was home with our daughter now, who is now a school teacher herself. And the place behind us came up for sale, 10 acres of a field and a house and everything. So we were able to, all three of us, chip in and buy that place. So she lives right there. So
Nice.
busy. Yeah, and like I was going to say, the spring was crazy because it just rained like hell. And then the sun would come out and everything turned into a jungle. And so everything is still just overgrown like a son of a bitch. And out here, the main thing that grows is blackberries. Now in Oregon, if you have a field and you park a car out there, you don't want any part of it, just junk it out and park it in the field. Well, just wait a little bit. You'll never see it again because it'll be totally covered with blackberries. There'll be this big mound of blackberries out there. So you drive around the countryside around these places, you see all these mounds of blackberries, underneath it is some junk car or tractor or truck or something.
Oh, wow.
I know. It's a local thing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Usually people around here just have tall grass, but blackberries, at least that's food.
I know, and they're ripe right now. Yeah, but what you do, what I do is I try to keep the blackberries down and have certain places where I let them grow just for the berries. But I've been bad this year. I haven't done all this work. I'm right now just getting around to trimming and doing that kind of stuff. I do in the spring.
But you've
what's
been busy around the house this year. That's what you're busy doing now.
Well, yeah, this thing I always do. I mean, I'm on the internet a lot, and I still do some writing. I have this big book I'm trying to get published. I can't seem to find a publisher, but we'll give it a little more time, and if it doesn't go, I'll self-publish.
Got you. So yeah, I don't know how you're having trouble finding a publisher. That's insane.
Well, it's because the publishing business is only looking for books that they think will be good sellers.
Right.
And it's different than it used to be. In the old days, they'd take a chance on a book that was different. It's just like On the Road. Nobody would touch that book except Sterling Lord, Kesey's agent. He saw it and he brought it out. And by doing that, he started his own agency, the Sterling Lord Litteristics. That became one of the biggest agencies in New York City. And he's still alive. He'll be 100 years old in November.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was Kesey's agent, and he was my agent. I did write a book that is published now, and now it's called "Who Shot the Water Buffalo."
Yeah.
And you can get that on my Facebook. Order it. I set it up for you. Go to a page and you click on Pay Now, and you put your credit card in, and I get the money through PayPal. So this is another thing I have to do is package up these books and send them out. I try to do it every Friday.
Right. Is that a novel?
It is. It's a novel. Yeah, it's about a Marine Corps helicopter squadron in Vietnam in 1962 and 63 before it got real hot.
Okay.
I mean, the weather was hot.
Now you served in the Marine Corps, didn't you?
Yeah, I was a helicopter pilot.
What took you from Marine Corps helicopter pilot to Merry Prankster, psychedelic revolutionary?
Well, in those days, back when I was in college, and they had the draft going on, and you had to do something.
Right.
So when I went to college, I joined Naval ROTC because I decided if I was going to go in the military, I was going to go in as an officer. I didn't want to go in as an enlisted man. And so my last year under my scholarship, I had a Naval ROTC scholarship. I tried for and got. I paid my way through school. And I had one more year in it when I went to Stanford. So the year I left Stanford in May, I had to go into the Marine Corps. And so I was in the Marine Corps. I'll tell you another great thing that happened to me in my life is I was a good athlete in high school, 3 sports, and then in college, basketball. And when I got in the Marine Corps, Quantico, Virginia, I tried out for their basketball team and made their basketball team. And that was terrific. because it meant I didn't have to go to classes anymore in the afternoons, but I could do whatever I wanted. And then at 3 or 4 o'clock, we'd have basketball practice. We played all over the place. Great team. We went to Bermuda for a Christmas tournament and played in New York City. Yeah. But also during that time, they put out the word that anybody would like to take a physical to go to flight school. I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. So I did it and I passed. So during the basketball season, right towards the end of the season, I had orders to go to flight school in Pensacola, Florida. So I went there for a year, and when I was done there, and you get to pick what you want to go into, jets or multi-engines or helicopters, I picked helicopters. People would ask me, why helicopters? Jets are the thing, these hot jet jocks, instructors, that's all they could talk about. I'd say, those helicopters don't have to drop bombs on people. They go, what?
It's good logic. It's really sound logic.
I know. And yeah, because, the shit really hit the fan, they'd be dropping nuclear bombs on people. So anyway, in flight school, they'd ask you hypothetical questions. Like the one I liked the best was, you're out, it's World War II, and you're out flying over the Pacific in the middle of World War II, and you got your bombs, and you get the word that there's a ship right there where you are, and it's got Red Cross painted on it, but it's actually a Japanese troop ship. Your orders are to go and drop your bombs on that ship and sink it. And then the instructor wants to know what you would do. And so he asked me, I said, well, of course I drop my bombs. And he looked away and I said to the guy next to me, but I'd miss.
So when you went in, you were already an empathetic human being. You were already kind of
Oh yeah, because at Stanford, we were really into partying down, the kind of parties you read about where it's bongos and red wine, and getting drunk or anything. I didn't think we even smoked pot then, but during the time I was in flight school, no, it wasn't then. It was after I got out. I was in California before we went to Vietnam. I would go up to Kesey's house, and that's when they started smoking pot, and then also doing LSD. So I had done acid and smoked pot before I went to Vietnam.
Okay.
But over there, I didn't do any drugs. And you didn't have to do any drugs in Vietnam. It was a psychedelic experience by itself.
How so?
Because of how psychedelic is crazy.
Right.
Stuff is happening all around you, unexpected, and things you've never seen before, and situations you've never been in. Well, that's Vietnam. Plus, it's a war.
Right.
Yeah. So it's very psychedelic.
It's the chaos and the hyper awareness and being tuned in with everything, kind of psychedelic.
Oh yeah, and plus flying a helicopter.
Right.
And, I know, and then a lot of times in very hairy situations. I was a good pilot.
Did you fly? Have you flown since you've been out?
Only on drugs. It's safe. It's safer that way. You don't have to leave the ground.
Yeah, it sounds like blasting off on DMT. That's what that sounds like.
DMT. Jerry Garcia called that seventh dimensional carnival ride.
Seventh dimensional carnival. That's accurate. That's accurate.
I never cared for it.
You never cared for it? Why not? It's too heavy?
No, it's its own thing. It's not really mind expanding. Like LSD opens your mind up to things that you never thought of, and good stuff comes in. And LSD changed me a lot. I was a real kind of asshole, wise guy, frat rat, know-it-all when I was in college. One of those kind of guys, jock, and all that. And although I had a lot of friends who were counterculture people and all that, I mean, I wasn't a total asshole, but I thought my attitude was I thought the world out there could be beat. I thought I was smart enough to beat the system and all that shit, man. But then LSD really woke me up to what's right and what's wrong and the way you should be. And I let go of all that other crap and became a better person, and continue to work at being a better person. And really, the name of the game is how you treat other people. And it doesn't matter what situation they are. I mean, if it's a guy down and out in the gutter, puking his guts out, I got as much empathy and help him out and get him cleaned up and stand him up, as I do to, a guy you meet in the bar and have a drink with. You got to be the same with everybody, because what you say is there, but for the grace of God, go I. I could just as easily be that guy in the gutter.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
So there's your sermon for today. Is it Sunday?
No, but I appreciate it.
I know. What the hell?
I thought pranksters weren't evangelical, but here you go.
Well, evangelical means you get into religious stuff of what would you say? What are they all about, evangelicals? It's all about afterlife. It's all about going to heaven. That's what it is.
Right.
Yeah. No, we're not talking about heaven. We're talking about earth, because I really believe heaven on earth is right here.
Yeah, 100%. And that's how you create it, is being mindful of how you treat other people.
Yeah, and the world.
Yeah. The earth.
We're this crisis of the virus is nothing compared to what's coming with the global warming and the climate change. I mean, things are going to, unless we do something within the next 20 years, we've had it.
Yeah.
Hey, like that, you'll be young enough, you'll have to figure out what to do about it.
Thanks, Ken.
I know. Well, I mean, what are you going to do? I'm not going to be here to see it. I would love to be here. I'd love to live another 50 years and see what happens.
I would love for that too.
I know, in this world.
Maybe then we can prove that LSD has curing properties. It'll expand your life. See, look at Ken. He's 130 years old.
Well, I don't think so, but that hasn't happened yet.
Well, I'm having an ecologist on the podcast next week, so maybe he can give me some advice on how to save the world before I'm gone.
I know. Well, it's coal. It's all about coal.
Yeah.
If they just stopped burning coal everywhere in the world, it would turn the whole thing around.
Yeah.
Where things would grow and change the warming and all that.
But we're so dependent on China for products, and they're super dependent on coal for their factories, that I don't see that changing anytime soon.
I don't either. It's going to be a real tragedy.
Yeah.
But what the hell? Some will survive and some won't.
Yes. Hopefully we'll have ascended to the 6th dimension long before coal has destroyed the atmosphere.
Well, I think the thing to do now for people in their own lives is to go solar, is to get solar working to keep your electricity going. And water is going to be the really big crisis.
Yeah.
Out here, we're lucky because we have wells, but even the pumps for the wells are going to have to be solar too.
Yeah.
To cover when the electricity starts to go out and stuff like that.
So are you on solar out there?
Not yet, but I'm going to call a guy here in the next couple of days and get it set up. We still have a little time. Elon
Musk has those, Tesla company has the solar panels for your roof. They're like your roof tiles, your shingles.
Yeah, I know.
And they're supposed to be super durable. In the future, that's what I would want to do for my house.
Oh, goddamn right. They should be, all the houses they're building now, they should be putting them on there.
Yeah. It makes...
Might as well, yeah.
Yeah. But the power companies benefit too. See, but power companies would benefit off that too, because then they can pull the power from those.
I know, and then they can cut down on using the coal for their power.
Yep. Look at us over here dictating world policy.
What the fuck? Somebody's got to do it.
No shit, right?
Yeah. You can't pay attention to those fucking politicians.
No, no, no. That'll drain your consciousness so fast.
I don't want any of that in my head.
No, yeah, me too. Me too.
Uh,
Those demons. It's the
I
more
know.
you look at it, the bigger it gets.
To me, it's like some weird TV show, some weird reality TV show, but I'm not interested in that show.
Yeah, same. I mean, you're a writer, you're a creator, you see it, you see the act.
Yeah, right.
Oh no,
but
yeah.
but it's like everything else. All of life is a challenge in finding the groove.
Right.
And you know, no matter what situation you're in, you got to just keep working at it to find the groove, so it doesn't drag you down. You know, and you continue to be optimistic and doing good stuff. I mean, you might be thinking different if they were shoving hot pokers up your ass and torturing you to death. Wait a minute, this is not too groovy.
Yeah, right. Jesus Christ. No, yeah, there's definitely a certain balance.
A little more to the left, please. A little more to the left. That's the spot.
Woo. Spicy.
Oh, gotta be.
Jeez, Ken. So what's this what's your new book that you're working on? Can you talk about that at all?
Yeah, it's called Cronies. It's all done. It's 582 pages long, 70 chapters. It starts with me meeting Kesey at Stanford in
Oh yeah, duh.
1958, and it ends when he dies in 2001.
Okay. It's the 43-year history that you were talking about.
But it's not a history, and it's not a fiction, and it's not a memoir. It's something completely different, and this is why nobody will publish it. It's a what is it? It's a burlesque. There is a legitimate literary form called a burlesque, and the most famous one in American literature is called "The History of New York City" by Daedalus. Oh no, by Knickerbocker, Daedalus Knickerbocker, and it came out in the late 1700s, and it just riled everybody up. And because you know this in New York, because New York is where all the publishing and the big stuff was happening in the late 1700s. Who is this Daedalus Knickerbocker, and why is he writing things like the mayor of New York City goes down every time a boatload of immigrants comes in to meet him, and brings the best looking women up to work in City Hall? Who is writing this stuff, and where's he getting this information? And so it went on. In fact, there would be ads in the paper, little paid for ads in there. Daedalus Knickerbocker is a charlatan. Do not buy his book. And other things would say, Daedalus Knickerbocker tells it how it is. This is the book to read. And so finally, the real author was revealed. It was the most popular author of the day, the first American author ever to make a living on the profits from his books. And you remember him mostly with the Legends of Sleepy Hollow. Washington Irving.
Huh. So it was kind of they were kind of expose books.
No, the real definition of a
Burlesque.
a literary burlesque. It's a historical happening embellished with inventions and exaggerations.
Okay. So it's almost kind of like how Quentin Tarantino did like Inglourious Bastards.
Could be. I never saw it.
Never saw it. It's like a pseudo history a little bit.
Well, yeah, it's actual happenstances, but with inventions and embellishments to add on to what it is. Like for me, you know, I can't remember all this stuff. I mean, who can? There's too much went on. I got a lot in there that I do remember, but it's more fun to add stuff onto it, and because I'll tell you what it is. every one of these chapters in this book is a story that sits by itself. It doesn't run, you know, like, and the next chapter follows this chapter, you
Right.
know. Each one is a separate piece. And each one of those is like a short story in itself. So it has to have a beginning, a middle, and an ending, you know, and all the stuff that goes into a good short story. And plus it has to be, the main thing to me about writing is it's entertaining. I want to entertain the reader. I want the reader to have fun and dig it, you know.
Yeah,
And that's all I care about. And, you know, other people can write the historical accuracies as best they can. And one of the things in the book is I don't get into any of the male-female relationships or any of that kind of stuff that went on. I just stick with guys mostly. I mean, the women are in there, but I don't get into any of that personal stuff. And people will say, well, why? Why did you leave that out? I'll just, no. I said, well, I don't want to open that can of worms. I said, if some woman wants to tell the story, let her tell the story. I don't want to try to tell the story about some woman, what she's telling. You know, I don't want to get into it. It's not my thing. It
I
drives me
respect that.
mad. Well, yeah, it drives me mad the way women write books. Some of them are pretty good, and they have the main character be a man. They got it down pretty good. But you know, the one that hit me to this was the Harry Potter book. You know, is that kid, that boy. You know, that boy is written by a woman, and it's good and everything, but that woman does not know what it's like to be a boy.
Right.
What a boy goes through when he's growing up, and what it's like for the boy. How could she?
Yeah.
You know, it's still good, and then, you know, it's not to knock on anything. They're terrific books and all that. But anyway, that's my thing about writing.
No, I respect that. It's a perspective that you don't have, so why try and offer it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to do it. I mean, I could make it up and do it, but no, I like to make up stuff otherwise.
What are some of your favorite books that
I'm
you've
reading
read?
a book. Oh God, some of my favorite books. These are a few of my favorite books.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is the book that got me really into reading.
Oh, that's one of my favorite books. Yes, I'm glad you said that.
Now, you were friends with Hunter too, weren't you?
Oh yeah, we had a lot of good times together. He was a good guy. You know, he wasn't always doing his Hunter Thompson flamboyant thing. And, you know, sometimes he's just a regular guy.
Right.
But he's a genius. He was a genius. Yeah, like his way of writing. I mean, he punctured the hot balloons of so many things with his needle-like prose. You know, and we need him now. God,
Yeah.
he would really be something. And Tom Wolfe. Tom Wolfe's one of my favorite writers. I mean, not just the Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test, but his other books too are terrific. And I don't know, who are some of my favorites? I just read a book by a guy called J.J. McBride. It was called, what was it called? Emperor King Kong, something like that. And it was about the projects in New York City and the people living in the projects and the things that happened to him. But the plot and the characterization and everything in there were just terrific. I mean, I just enjoyed that book so much. I didn't want it to end. So, you know, who's ever heard of it? So actually, some people have. He wrote a really good book called, too, I read it before, called The Color of Water. So he's a new guy, you know, a black guy. So these are all stories from that, you know, that world. And it's good to read that now at this time that's going on with the Black Lives Matter and everything. What do we know about that world? We don't know much about it. We can't. But so it's up to get these books and read these books and get a real, you know, insight into all this stuff, you know, real understanding and a better understanding of it. So what else is a good book? I'm reading a Japanese author now. What's his name? Haruki something or another. Haruki Murakami.
What's the book about?
This book is about a painter. He paints portraits, but he also has in his backyard, they discovered a pit. because a bell was ringing in that pit. And it's a place that's been there for hundreds of years. These Buddhist monks would go when it was time to die. They'd have these pits built with rocks on sides and rock covers and everything. And they'd go in there and just live in there. And sometimes they'd have a hammer and they'd bang with a hammer. Other times they'd have a bell. And so this painter in his house hears this bell. This is the house he's just moved into in the mountains. And he hears this bell ringing at night. Can't figure out what it is. So he and another guy, they get it opened up, rocks off it. They go down in there and there's nothing in there but the bell. They expected to see a mummified Buddhist priest in there, because other places where they've done this and opened them up, there's always been a mummified priest in there. So this guy's got an imagination. So this one they opened up, they dribbled water on the mummy's lips or anything, and after a while he started moving his lips a little bit, and then he started breathing. And so they gave him more water and gave him a little food and everything. And pretty soon he was able to sit up, and pretty soon he was able to get out and be a person again. But he was only really short, like 2 feet tall, and his skin was all wrinkled and leathery and all that.
Huh. That's very strange. Surreal.
I know. Okay, so this bell, this guy finds this bell, just the bell, but no person down there ringing the bell. So he takes the bell out and he puts it on his mantelpiece. And then one night he hears the bell ringing again. And he goes in there and there's this little guy sitting on the mantel ringing the bell. And it's the little guy that was in the hole, ringing the bell. It's the same guy. But he's not real, and he's trying to explain what he is. And finally he says, you can't explain it any other way but that I am an idea. You have an idea, you have an idea in your head. He is an idea. So it'd be like something that's an idea in your head, but you are able to see it and talk to it. And it comes and goes. It just disappears and then shows up again.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, it's fascinating. Because for one thing, this guy's just a tremendous writer. I mean, he's not one of these guys that just raps out words, and is real glossy and fast and all that. No, he's deep. He's a good writer. Yeah, I read another book of his too. I can't remember what it's called. It was really good.
That's interesting.
I know. Well, so, and this guy is not unknown. He's a New York Times best-selling guy.
Okay.
He's famous all over the world. Tons of awards and stuff.
I'm just starting to get like a good momentum with reading. I've kind of been an off and on reader throughout my life. And over the past couple of years, I've been building momentum. And then now here, since quarantine, I've been reading like a crazy person.
Oh, me too. I'll read sometimes a book a day.
Yeah.
Else haven't. But the other thing that we got going in our lives, we have a puppy. We got a puppy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What kind? What kind of dog?
A Labrador retriever, a white lab.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really pretty. And we've always had a lab, so we haven't had one for a few years now. So we got this little puppy. God, he's a terror, and he takes up all your time.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
Except when he sleeps. Suddenly he crashes. When he sleeps, when the puppy sleeps, I sleeps.
Hey, yeah. It's like having a kid.
Yeah, really. So that's good too. And plus our daughter who lives behind us, she has a lab. It's a year old now, and that big old monster comes over here and just tears our little puppy to pieces. I have to break him up once in a while.
That's great that your family lives that close to each other.
Oh, really great. Super great.
Now you don't just have a daughter, you have a son too, right? How far is he from you?
I got 9 kids.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 3 wives, 9 kids, and scattered all over. So just our daughter, my present wife, that's our only child.
Okay.
But she's the only one that's close by. Others, there's a bunch up around Portland and then California.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. Damn, you don't waste no time, do you, Ken?
What else you got to do?
No shit.
I'm looking forward to seeing how many babies come out of this virus.
Oh my God, I know. It's going to be a lot. Everybody's been home for shit, like almost 9 months now. I mean, we've all
that's
been
it.
home.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Pretty soon the babies will start popping on. There won't be any place in the hospital for them.
Yep. And
Oh.
I feel bad for the dads too, because they're not able to go into like the
Maternity ward.
appointments.
Oh, yeah, those things. Do the thing together with them. What's that called? The braza or something. Where you go in and you lie on the floor and do the thing. Well, that's good. They don't have to go to that.
Oh, shucks. You got to stay home and drink. Darn. Sorry, honey. I can't go to Lamaze.
Lamaze, that's it. Lamaze.
Yeah. So when's the last time you tripped?
Well, we went to the coast for like 2 days, not too long ago. Stayed in a motel.
So pretty recently.
You're talking about just taking a trip in the car, right?
Yeah.
Good.
I don't want to incriminate you, Ken.
No, I don't want to be incriminated either. I don't even want to be discriminated.
You haven't tripped since the 60s. And even then.
Well, like Timothy Leary said, if you can remember it, then you weren't there.
If you can remember it, then you weren't there. Oh, wow. That's funny. Ken, I would love to come out there and meet you in person sometime, but.
Well, if you can be on your tour, we can set you up in the pasture out there and you can do your act to the cows.
Do my act to the cows. All right, I'll do that.
We'll bring in some neighbors. Hey,
Okay.
we did. I'll tell you a neat thing we did. Our daughter up there, she got the big movie screen out and she got the show Hamilton on her computer and the projector. And then I brought over the big speakers and we sat out there at night and watched that musical Hamilton.
That's really cool.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it, but that's really cool that you guys set it up like that.
You can get it on your computer and watch it. It's worth seeing because it's unbelievable. Because this one guy wrote the whole thing and he plays the star role of Hamilton, and it's all hip hop.
Yeah,
the music. So I had a hell of a time understanding it for a long time. It's hard for me to get the rhythm and to understand what they're saying right the first time. But so we watched the first half one night and the second half the next night. And so before the next night, I went online and I read the story so I could find out what was happening.
Okay.
Because it's got all these characters in there, George Washington, all of them from that time, the Constitution, and the beginning of the country. Aaron Burr, he and Aaron Burr, first they were friends and then they got in that duel. All about women. There was a lot of stuff about women in there. And the thing that was funny about it was almost all the characters in there are played by black actors and performers.
Okay. And they're playing like colonial people.
Yeah, in the colonial dress and everything. Except for this one white guy, George III, the King of England during all this. Every once in a while he'd come out and there'd be nobody else on stage. He'd all by himself and talking about these colonists and how they were going to bring in he was going to have to ship over a battalion to set those colonists straight, and end this thing. He was really funny. I liked he was one of my favorite guys.
That's interesting. I'm gonna have to. I've had a lot of people tell me to watch it, and I've been not watching it because I'm not a big fan of musicals. But since you're telling me,
same here. I had no interest in it, but it was happening, so I went and. Really knocked me out. I'd like to see it again now that I know what's going on, and I think I could understand them better.
Well, and the way that you guys experienced it too is really, really cool. Doing it with your family and being outside and on the big projector with the big sound.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're gonna do something else now. Get another way and do it.
I went to like like a little mini festival last year. It's a bunch of friends that go to like lock-in and stuff. And at the end of festival season, they have like a little private party and they all play music and stuff. But the first night we were there, they had the projector set up with the big audio, big speakers, like you said. And we watched Pink Floyd The Wall. That was really cool.
That's good.
Yeah.
That is really good. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, we were out in the mountains, and they had lasers out there on the pine trees and stuff. It was amazing.
Oh, that's it. See, we can still do that.
Yeah.
People can still do that outside, and everybody just kind of stay distance apart and wear their masks.
Yep.
Yeah, drive-ins are happening.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'd rather go to a drive-in than a regular movie theater anyway.
Oh, they were terrific. I love drive-ins. When I was a kid, there's one close to us. And when we were kids, before we drove or anything, we'd go over there on Saturday nights and go to a place where no car was and take the speakers down, put it on the ground, and watch the movie just sitting there.
Right? Yeah. Why not?
I know, but then high school, the car.
Yeah.
And you didn't watch much of the movie.
Yeah, because you had a girl with you, or because you were.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was the whole point of the drive-in.
Yeah, exactly.
So in Eugene at the fairgrounds, they have a big open space. And so it's a big parking lot, huge parking lot. So they have turned it into a drive-in movie theater on Saturday nights.
Cool.
And and you have to get a ticket ahead of time. And you get there and the cars are all parked, separate places, and you're supposed to stay in your car. But the picture of the thing in the paper had people sitting on top of their cars watching it.
Cool.
I know. So it's happening.
Yeah, I'd be out there with my family if I were you. That sounds like a fun Saturday.
Yeah, really, with the kids. Get out.
Yeah, right on.
And their family shows the showing too.
Right, yeah.
Family
friendly.
Yeah, I don't go to movies anymore because they're just too loud and too obnoxious with all the shoot 'em ups and fighting and car wrecks and all that crap.
Right.
All the effects. Yeah.
I'm not really a big movie guy anymore either. I used to.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I think after Star Wars, I quit watching.
Which one?
First one.
So you stopped watching movies in like the 70s, the 80s?
Was that long ago?
Yeah.
No, I've been to some movies since then. Every once in a while, one will come along, I'll watch. I'll go to the theater. Go to the theaters. Well, I mean, you got to have your wallet stuffed full of cash for one thing when you go to the movies. But one of the best things about them is you can buy beer now. Sit in the theater and drink beer.
Yeah. I haven't. We got a movie theater like that in town. I haven't been there yet.
Yeah, they're all like that here in Eugene. All three of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ken, before we go, is there anything that you think that my generation and even the younger generation could learn from the Merry Pranksters? Is there anything that...
Well, I have this little thing here I printed out. It's only 6 pages long. Groove on the fly. Play the song in front of you. Keep gas in the tank and your cell phone charged. Wear your striped shirt. Dig the scene in front of you and goof on it. You can't be the same dumb doof you once was unless you're stuck in the same old rut. It's the constantly changing world. You got to keep up with the changes. New forms coming into play. Old forms fading away. Old forms continue to hound us, but we got to stay ahead. Keep a step ahead. Don't be caught up in repeating thoughts, repeating actions that have no life-affirming glow. Never knock the way the other cat swings. Okay, so we'll go to the end now, if I can find the end. Oh, it's only one line. Oh, it's a nice ending. One line. So wait a minute. Yeah. When I do readings, I just read them and throw the things on the floor. Okay, here we are. After the acid test graduation, everything went sideways. We headed in a new direction, under the asphalt, out of the spotlight. As Kesey said, you don't use acid to leave the world. You use it to get into the world, to be one with the people, to embrace the ordinary, happiness for all. We are riding a new wave, surfing a new movement, one aimed at restoring what made the earth a paradise, reversing the damage to the soil, the water, and the air. We are few, but we are powerful. The love we create between us will never die. Thus endeth the lesson. Now, party down.
I love it. I set you up perfectly for that. You already had that ready?
I wanted to print out something and just read it over so I would have something to kind of remember, but I forgot all about it when we were talking until right then.
That's really cool, man. I appreciate that, Ken. That was really special.
I thought so.
I like that part about what you said about embracing the ordinary. And we don't take LSD to get out of this world. We take it to get in this world, to tune in.
Yes, exactly right. Exactly right.
I really dig that.
Yeah, it's important.
Ken, you're the man. I got to get out there to Oregon and meet you, and I would love to have you back on the podcast if you're willing to do it.
Well, maybe again sometime, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe I'll get out my stuff and play some songs and do some what do you call it? Improv.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I would love that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the people would love that.
Have my little setup right here. Right here on the table.
Is that your workspace? Is that your?
It's part of it. I got quite a lot here going on. See, there's another. Can you see it over there? That computer.
Yep.
And then there's another one back there, a bigger one. And then I got another room where I do all my video editing. I've got like 6 computers going.
So, are you on YouTube?
Well, what do you mean on YouTube? All you have to do is be on the internet to be on YouTube.
I mean. Where are you at?
Am I on YouTube? I am on YouTube as Ken Babbs.
Okay, and that's where you're editing videos and putting them out at?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
I don't do it too often because we have a really slow internet here on the phone line.
Right.
It takes forever. Like sometimes I'll do it and just do it and let it run all night uploading it.
Right. Okay.
So I try to do pretty short things. Not only that, but people send me YouTubes all the time, and I can only watch like 2 or 3 minutes.
Right. Yeah. You have a short attention span?
No, it's just usually that I'm not interested in what I'm watching.
So, nope, I just don't care.
Okay, you get it usually in front. I like to do music. My favorite band right now is Metallica.
Okay.
Yeah, I just love them. I think they're really so accomplished. The musicians, they're so good, and their songs are so intricate. And that guy that sings, God, he's terrific. And these ones I watch, they all take place in these huge arenas, 50,000 people, outside, all over the world. And this one in Seoul, Korea, was really a knockout because these crowds know all the words to all the songs, and they sing them along with Metallica when the guy's singing. And every once in a while, he'll hold up his hand or point, and he'll not sing anymore. And they'll all be singing out there in this huge arena, the song. And they're Koreans.
Yeah.
All the words.
That's got to be empowering as an artist to be in a foreign land and everybody know your lyrics like that.
It is empowering for these guys, and these guys have risen to that. You can tell that they are. I saw an interview with him. He says, "We are artists," and that is true. That they're not just like band performing or anything.
Right.
These guys are something else. So it's fun because I never paid much attention to Metallica at all, except the New York Yankees had this tremendous relief pitcher, Mariano Rivera, for 20 years.
Yes, sir.
And so in the last, I don't know how many years, whenever he came into relief, they'd play, what was it, Inner Sandman,
Yeah.
that song? when he came in to relieve, and that became his, song that they'd play when he came in. So his last game when he was retiring, they had Metallica out there in behind the fence in center field, live playing.
That's really cool. I didn't know that.
Boy, I know. I just happened to catch it on the TV, watching it.
That'd be really cool.
In fact, I had never seen him live or heard of anything before. I just knew that song, Inner Sandman. But yeah, when I saw him and everything. But on Facebook, I don't know if you do that too. You ever go to the side of Facebook where they do this thing called Watch?
Yeah. They have the videos.
Yeah, Metallica's on there a lot, and they're all these. They're not like YouTubes or from records or anything like that. They're actual live performances.
Yeah, and now that you keep watching it, Facebook is going to keep feeding it to you.
Well, that's okay.
I said that's okay.
Yeah, what the hell? They can feed it all they want, but it doesn't mean I'm going to turn it on and eat it.
Hey, there you go. That's right.
I may be full up.
Oh, I did not expect you to Metallica, though. I didn't expect that.
Well, I know, but I'm a kind of guy that likes lots of different stuff, and I appreciate stuff that's really good. And because that came as a really kind of surprise to me, how good they were. They're like, in a way, it's like classical music. The intricacies of their
right.
back and forth. They're both such great guitar players and the bass player. The whole four of them together, they're fantastic. But what was I going to say about them? I can't remember now. See, that's how fast they come and go.
I really like Tool.
Oh, I know what it was. Who?
Tool.
Oh, Tool. Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I do too. Tool's good. Yeah, I got a lot of artists like that. How about Arcade Fire?
Arcade Fire. No, I don't listen to Arcade Fire much.
But you've heard of it, eh?
Yeah. I like Tame Impala and MGMT. Have you ever listened to them?
Well, no, I've never heard of them.
I might have to send you a couple songs.
Okay, do it. Do it. Okay, but anyway, what was I going to say? I was going to say something.
Arcade Fire?
No, something else.
You were talking about
It comes and goes.
It comes and goes.
Yeah, it'll show up later when we're off.
Yeah. Ken, I got to get off here, but I'm about to go make me some dinner.
Yeah, it's back late there at your place, 7:17.
Yeah.
7:14, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But
what are you cooking tonight?
Tacos.
I love tacos, but tonight I'm cooking chicken legs and fries and potatoes, and then in a couple days we'll leftover chicken for the tacos.
There you go. Hey, okay. I'm making turkey burger tacos. I'm trying to cut beef out of my diet, so.
We have done that too.
Okay.
No more beef, but mostly chicken and fish, but once in a while turkey burger.
Yeah, same here, chicken and fish.
Yeah.
But Ken, thank you so much for doing this. This was really fun.
Okay, me too, Scott. Yeah.
You have a good night, bud.
You too.
Enjoy the trip.
Groove.